So I recently saw this tweet from SC Magazine. 75% of organisations targeted at least once by email fraud over the last 2 years. 2 years? 2 years? You're kidding me. And that is my response there above it. At least once in 2 years. I deal with several email fraud attempts in the time it takes me to drink my morning coffee. Either companies don't realise or we're being disproportionately targeted. And I have to say, I do drink black coffee, so it does take a little while to cool down. I suppose if I had milk in my coffee, maybe I would not see quite so many spamming attempts in the time it took me to drink it. But there we go. Anyway, so let's take a look at this article. We'll just kind of glaze over it, and I'm going to show you some examples of email fraud that we have seen. The research finds 75% of organisations were targeted at least once by email fraud in the last 2 years. And 41% of their businesses had been targeted multiple times. Yep, well, that'd be me. So despite major investments in cybersecurity, email fraud continues to rise as cybercriminals' tactics become more advanced. More advanced? No, I think they're becoming faster, I will admit that. It used to be a time that we find the abuse on the Outlook web application accounts, which had been, the user had willingly handed their details over because they thought they should do. We used to find the time for it being abused was about 24 hours, and now it's down to around 20 minutes before it gets abused, and automated spam is sent out from their account, which thereby escalates the problem and causes it to expand ever further. That lots of emails are sent out from the business, more people click on it, more people fall victim to the attack, and it just grows and grows and grows. Never-ending attack. And it did actually get to a point last year that we'd fallen victim so many times we actually got blacklisted. Our IP addresses got blacklisted by quite a few companies and it became quite a disaster. And it wasn't until I was doing a lot of proactive work of trying to catch the people who'd visited the websites, the phishing websites, and forcing a reset of their password before they could be abused. That was kind of our defence in the end. It required a lot of proactive approach and work. So the setup we have is users will have the ability to report emails, spam emails or phishing emails. They could forward the email to the cybersecurity team and we can check it out. And if it's if it's an email with a phishing link in, I can look at the internet logs for the entire company and see who may have gone to that website, and I can block the website. And yeah, I saved quite a few people in that approach. Of course, it would be simpler if there was a button in Outlook we could have that just sent the email directly to us, but hey, small steps. Not many people will actually forward the email to us. You just find a lot of people will either ignore it or fall victim to it. It's only a very small percent of users who are actually willing to report an email. But thankful to those that do, because they do save, it gives us a chance to save the majority that do click it. So researchers surveyed 2,250 IT decision makers across the US, UK, Germany, France and Australia and found 75% of organisations were targeted at least once by email fraud in the last 2 years. 41% said they've been targeted multiple times. The US was most targeted with 84% of respondents of the country reporting one or more attacks, followed by Australia with 80%. Researchers didn't find any correlation between the size of businesses and the likelihood or the likeliness of the attack, suggesting all businesses are at risk. We found that email fraud is pervasive, disruptive, and in many cases catching business unprepared, with just 40% of survey respondents saying they have full visibility into email fraud threats in their environment. And even fewer said they have controls in place to stop them. We don't have full visibility, but I can see the headers of email, so subject, name, or to and from. But I do have greater visibility on the internet logs. For those who had experienced attacks within the last 2 years, 56% reported the incident resolved in downtime and disruption. 33% said the attack lost funds. Wouldn't be surprised. And yeah, it did result in disruption for us. As I said, at one point we did get our IP addresses blacklisted. And boardrooms are taking notice to the threat. About bloody time. Actually, businesses and people are slowly catching on. with the concepts of cybersecurity, or at least an awareness of it. So I'll show you a few examples, and this one I've had to redact most of the names and the actual business that was involved on here, but this was an email from one of the customers, and in quotes the customer, because this is a scammer who has gotten into their system. They stated, "Please advise if payment has been made. If not, I will provide you new detail for receiving this payment. Our banking details is having error in updating incoming transfers," said in context. You can see that the first language is not English, and actually the companies doing business here are both in America, so, well, I would expect first language English. Well, I suppose you could say Spanish as well in America. So, sorry, Lucy, in quotes, "Not yet, please go ahead and provide new details." The new details were provided to a rather unusual banking address in Hong Kong. Unfortunately, the engineer sat on this for a while. After a bit of emailing back saying that we don't normally pay you directly, it goes to another company first, we did actually get an email from the actual Lucy this time around. "Do not change anything, I did not send that email. This was a spam hacked email that you received, and it was fairly professional." Okay. "We have not changed anything, we don't do business in Hong Kong." So that was actually another business that had fallen victim, but we nearly did as well because we nearly made an incorrect payment, or payment to someone who we shouldn't have done. And that was quite a few, was this tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of US dollars? It would have been quite a bit, and I'm sure we would not have wanted to lose that money. We get fake emails like this. "We've recently compiled a list of decision makers from the construction industry trying to sell us data." Well, I suppose that's grey market really, isn't it? Maybe they do have rights to that data, maybe they don't, but I'm sure we don't want to be doing business with that individual. And it just so happens we got wind of a similar thing of someone trying to sell our data to another company. This fine example of someone who has been scraping around LinkedIn for financial officer details. And I have to say they've been very persistent. They've been sending one email every 2 weeks or so. Of course, how do you find one email in 2 weeks out of many hundreds of thousands of emails? Not easily. But good morning, I need you to process a payment transaction for me today. Let me know if I should send it to you right away. It would be a busy day, but I will be checking my email frequently for your response. Hello, planning presentation for your preview. A planning presentation which doesn't contain any malicious files, of course. I'll show you another example of one of these in a later email. Yes, same sort of thing again. View secured document. These are kind of the same thing. These so-called proposals, it's just a trick to make the user open something. Oh, this one has not been blocked at all, so I should select my email provider. Oh, who am I with? Oh, I think I'm with Outlook, aren't I? Ah, yes. And I take it the Outlook login page is on coolideas.ml and not a Microsoft domain, is it? So that's a phishing website. One from our IT department in quotes, because it's respectfully IT support system. This is from our IT support system in regards to our ongoing wide migration update to our new webmail servers. We need to migrate all mailbox to our new server location so it will be compatible with the latest versions of software and our updated security such as DNS proxies, single sign-on, whatever. Submit migration ticket. Well, it's just as well this proxy service we're using does block some of this malware, or these phishing websites. So same thing again. Well, this email got around to, ended up to a few hundred users. And unfortunately, one user was very quick at reporting it, and I was very quick at blocking it, because that proxy did not block initially. Well, the laugh was the attacker was still sending these emails to us while I had the link blocked. So, waste of time really, isn't it? So that takes care of last week. A few from last week, that is. This very weird one that had nothing in it, except they sent the same nothing email to about 8,000 accounts. Must be some kind of address verification or scraping. Another fake invoice. Fortunately, Chrome is on the ball here and says deceptive site ahead. A lot of times we find Chrome is a saviour to these phishing sites. Not Edge or Internet Explorer. They're useless. And finally, some stupid payments that the attachment has been stripped out by filtering. So I'm sure it's something like a RAR executable or bin file. What we're saying, we have not heard from you since we made payment for our order. Please have you received attached payment? That was a look at some of the phishing emails we received. So targeted at least once in the past 2 years. I bloody wish. No, actually I don't. It's this sort of stuff that keeps me in business. Keeps my mortgage paid and food on the table. So, don't be in any rush to stop. Anyway, if you found it insightful, thanks for watching. I'll see you all later.